The crowd roared, not for justice, not for glory, but for blood. Asterisk. In the heart of the Colosseum, under the blinding sun of a Roman afternoon, thousands gathered, nobles, peasants, soldiers, even children, all united by one savage hunger, to watch death performed as entertainment. What unfolded within those marble walls was not sport, not art, but a ritual of power, control, and cruelty. Welcome to ancient Rome's most brutal and inhumane arena spectacles, events so horrifying that even emperors blushed, and even the gods might have turned away. The Empire of Spectacle. Rome was not just built on conquest, it was sustained by performance. From sunrise to sunset, the Colosseum thundered with cheers as men, women, and beasts died for the pleasure of the masses. The empire's rulers discovered early that bread and blood could silence rebellion. As long as the people were fed and entertained, they would never question the emperor's rule. The Colosseum, known then as the Flavian Amphitheater, could hold nearly 80,000 spectators. Its floors were soaked with the blood of over 1 million creatures, both human and animal, over the centuries. But behind the marble facade lay a hidden world, dark corridors iron cages, and whispered prayers of those who would never see the sun again. The birth of blood entertainment. The origins of Roman arena combat trace back to funeral games, solemn rituals meant to honor the dead. Two men would fight to the death beside a noble's pyre, their blood a supposed gift to the gods. But as Rome grew richer and more ambitious, these rituals mutated into something monstrous. By the time of Julius Caesar, the games had become grand spectacles. He famously hosted 320 pairs of gladiators, making the sands run red for days. The people loved it, the brutality, the suspense, the way each drop of blood seemed to prove Rome's dominance over chaos itself. The gladiator's world. Most gladiators were slaves, criminals, or prisoners of war, forced into the arena as punishment. But some, known as auctorati, were free men who sold their lives for fame and money. They trained in special schools called ludi, run like brutal military camps. The best known was Ludus Magnus, located right beside the Colosseum. Here, the air was thick with sweat, iron, and despair. Gladiators learned to wield the gladius, the short Roman sword that gave them their name. They slept in cells, ate barley gruel, and lived by a single law: kill or be killed. Some gladiators became celebrities. The crowds chanted their names like modern fans. They were adorned with oil, perfume, and glory, only to die for applause. The arena of death. On the day of the games, Rome turned into a carnival. Merchants sold wine, honey cakes, and roasted nuts. Trumpets blared. The emperor himself took his golden seat. Below, the arena floor shimmered like gold dust over the sand. But soon, it would be red. The games followed a set order. Morning shows featured animal hunts, *Venetian star. Exotic beasts from across the empire, lions from Numidia, elephants from Africa, crocodiles from the Nile, were unleashed upon terrified men armed with spears. Rome imported thousands of wild animals yearly, driving some species to extinction. By midday, the heat grew unbearable. Then came the executions. Criminals, accused Christians, or rebellious slaves were dragged into the arena to die in horrific ways, **, burned, crucified, torn apart by beasts **, or forced to reenact myths like Prometheus or Orpheus, ending in real death. The peak of cruelty, Emperor Commodus. If Rome ever had a poster child for excess, it was Emperor Commodus. The son of Marcus Aurelius, he saw himself as Hercules reborn and fought in the arena himself, though his opponents were handpicked to lose. He killed hundreds of animals, beheaded ostriches with golden arrows, and charged the Senate vast sums to watch his performances. Commodus even renamed Rome Colonia Commodiana, the city of Commodus. His madness turned the games into personal theater. He once executed a group of disabled citizens by clubbing them to death, pretending they were giants. The people cheered, but history would remember him as Rome's bloodiest showman. The Naumachii, sea battles inside Rome. Few knew the Romans' obsession with scale better than the emperors who turned entire arenas into lakes. Using a complex system of aqueducts, the Colosseum's floor could be flooded for mock naval battles, called Naumachii. In 80 AD, Emperor Titus staged one to celebrate the Colosseum's opening. Thousands watched as real ships, manned by condemned men, fought to the death in a recreated sea storm. They clashed with tridents and catapults, while the audience feasted and laughed. Each man killed became another forgotten ripple in Rome's ocean of cruelty. The beasts of Rome. The Roman Empire's reach stretched from Britain to Egypt, and its hunger for exotic animals was endless. Lions, leopards, panthers, even hippos were shipped across seas in iron cages. Some records claim that under Emperor Trajan, 11,000 animals were slaughtered in a single festival. Trainers starved lions before shows to make them more vicious. Some events featured hunters battling dozens of animals alone, or blindfolded archers shooting for sport. It wasn't entertainment, it was orchestrated savagery. One story tells of a condemned man thrown naked into the arena, his body smeared with blood to attract a bear. The crowd's cheers rose as the beast tore him apart. When it was over, attendants raked the sand smooth, ready for the next act. The silent victims, women and Christians. Rome's brutality knew no gender or faith. Female gladiators, called gladiatrices, fought in rare but sensational bouts, often half-naked, against dwarves or animals. They were paraded as symbols of decadence, shocking even conservative senators. During Nero's reign, Christians were publicly executed for refusing to worship Roman gods. They were sewn into animal skins and devoured by dogs, or set ablaze to light the emperor's garden parties. The Colosseum became a temple of terror, a place where mercy was outlawed and humanity was stripped bare. The machinery of death. Beneath the arena floor lay a labyrinth of tunnels, lifts, and cages known as the hypogeum. Slaves operated complex pulleys to release animals and gladiators suddenly into the light, creating surprise attacks that thrilled the audience. Hidden trapdoors opened to reveal chariots, statues, or fountains of perfume. Every moment was choreographed to awe, shock, and delight. But what no one saw were the screams below, the panic of the next victims waiting in darkness, counting their heartbeats before their turn came. When Rome grew weary of blood. By the 4th century, the spirit of Rome had changed. Christianity had spread, and the old gods were fading. Many began to question the morality of the games. In 404 AD, a monk named Telemachus leapt into the arena to stop a fight, crying, "In the name of Christ, stop." The enraged crowd stoned him to death. But his sacrifice moved Emperor Honorius, who soon banned gladiatorial games forever. After centuries of blood, the Colosseum finally fell silent. The echoes of the arena. Today, tourists wander through the Colosseum's ruins, unaware that beneath their feet lies the dust of 10,000 lives. The cries, the roars, the clash of steel, all lost to time, but not to memory. The Roman games were more than cruelty, they were a mirror. They revealed what happens when power grows unchecked, when entertainment devours empathy, and when humanity mistakes spectacle for strength. Rome's empire has long fallen, but its echoes remain, in our movies, our violence, our hunger for spectacle. And perhaps, if we listen closely in the Colosseum's shadowed halls, we might still hear that ancient whisper. Ave Caesar, morituri te salutant. Hail Caesar, those who are about to die salute you. Blood beneath the empire ***. The arena floor may have glistened with marble and sunlight, but beneath it, hell was alive. The underground inferno. Far below the roaring crowds, torchlight flickered over damp stone walls. The Hypogeum, Rome's underground arena complex, was a maze of cages, pulleys, and hidden corridors. Hundreds of slaves worked in suffocating heat, hauling platforms and preparing beasts for slaughter. They were invisible to the audience, yet the entire show depended on them. Chains clinked. A lion growled in the dark. A man whispered a prayer, then the iron gate creaked open, and a platform rose toward the light. As the trapdoor slammed shut, another slave muttered. Another gone. Another show begins. The making of a gladiator. In Ludus Magnus, Rome's grandest gladiator school, the air was heavy with iron and discipline. New recruits were stripped, examined, branded, and renamed. Their old identities were erased. In their place, Rome gave them stage names: Scorpio, Felix, Draco. Each morning began with the clang of swords, the crack of whips, and the voice of the lanista, the trainer and owner, barking commands. Your body is Rome's property. Your death is Rome's entertainment. Some trained with wooden swords for months, while others, stronger, meaner, were thrown into battle after days. Their sweat soaked the sand long before their blood did. At night, silence filled the barracks. Men stared at the ceiling, counting stars through barred windows, wondering how many were left to see. Brotherhood of the damned. Despite their chains, gladiators formed bonds stronger than any Roman law. They shared stolen bread, whispered jokes, and dreams of freedom. Among them was Flamma, a Syrian soldier captured by Rome. He won his freedom 4 times, and refused it each time, choosing to keep fighting. When asked why, he said, "A slave in the arena is more alive than a free man outside." He died in his 34th battle, his name forever etched into stone tablets found centuries later. Another legend, Spiculus, became Emperor Nero's favorite. Nero showered him with gold and villas, but when the emperor fell, Spiculus vanished. Some say he was executed with his own sword. Others say he ended himself, loyal to the madness that made him famous. The Emperor's Theater of Death. Emperor Domitian loved to shock. He staged nighttime games under flaming torches, forcing dwarves to fight to the death as the crowd laughed. He also invented a cruel new form of punishment, releasing women condemned for crimes into the arena, dressed as mythological heroines, and then killing them mid-performance. A woman as Andromeda, chained to a rock. A real sea monster lunges. The audience gasps. Art and execution become one. Domitian called it living mythology. Historians called it insanity. The Beast Master. Behind the scenes, few were more feared than the Bestiarius, the Beast Handler. These men trained lions, tigers, and leopards for slaughter. They knew their animals by sound, scent, and temper. One, named Morris, kept a lion called Regulus. For 3 years, the beast refused to attack him. The crowd loved their bond, until one day, Morris was ordered to die for disobedience. He faced Regulus in the arena. The lion circled him, sniffed, and lay down beside him, purring softly. The crowd booed. The guards intervened. Both man and beast were executed. Their story became one of the few remembered by name in Roman graffiti. Morris and Regulus, loyal beyond cruelty. The Festival of Blood. Every decade, Rome hosted Ludi Seculares, century festivals celebrating Rome's eternal youth. The Colosseum was at the heart of it all. For 7 days, from dawn to dusk, blood never stopped flowing. On the 4th day, Emperor Trajan outdid them all. He celebrated his victory over Dacia with 10,000 gladiators and 11,000 wild beasts. The city's drains clogged with blood. Fishermen claimed the Tiber ran red for days. Writers like Cassius Dio recorded it, trembling. Rome itself groaned beneath the weight of its cruelty. The slave who defied Rome. Among the forgotten names was Aelius Varro, a Thracian slave who once fought in the mines of Gaul. He refused to kneel before his trainer, saying, "I will not die on command." He was beaten, chained, starved, and yet he endured. On the day of his execution, he was paired against 3 trained gladiators. He killed all 3 before collapsing. The crowd roared his name. The emperor granted him freedom. But Varro spat blood and said, "If this is your mercy, may your gods drown in it." He walked away and vanished. Years later, rumors spread of a band of runaway slaves who ambushed Roman convoys, calling themselves children of the arena. Some say Varro led them. Rome's hunger without end. By the 2nd century AD, the games had become Rome's obsession. Children played Gladiator in the streets. Merchants sold miniature swords and helmets. Even philosophers attended, claiming they studied the nature of death. But a few dared to speak out. The writer Seneca described the midday executions. "I happened upon the noon spectacle. No skill, no art, just sheer murder. Men are killed for sport, as if humanity itself were a disease." Yet even Seneca admitted, "I stayed longer than I wished. The blood held me." That was the truth of Rome. Everyone condemned it, and everyone craved it. The curse of the Colosseum. Legends say that at night, the arena never slept. Guards heard whispers in the tunnels, metal clashing, faint cries, phantom applause. Some claimed the sands moved as if breathing. Centuries later, monks who visited the ruins swore they heard the words, "We who died for pleasure, remember." Today, archaeologists have found traces of human ashes beneath the stands, proof that the dead were sometimes buried inside the arena walls themselves. Perhaps the Colosseum stones are haunted not by ghosts, but by memory. The fall of the games. By the time of Emperor Constantine, Rome was crumbling. The empire's wealth drained away, its armies stretched thin. Christian voices grew louder, condemning the games as sins against creation. In 404 AD, the monk Telemachus leapt into the arena to stop a duel. The crowd killed him, but his act shattered the illusion forever. The emperor outlawed the spectacles soon after. The Colosseum's gates closed. The sands grew cold. Rome's thirst was finally broken. Final reflection. The Colosseum was not just a monument to violence, it was a mirror to the soul of humanity. In its shadow, emperors rose and fell. In its dust, slaves became legends. And though its arches now stand in silence, its echoes still reach us today, in every story, every film, every heart that beats faster at the sight of danger. Rome believed death could entertain. We must remember that it destroyed them in the end. The lost legends of the arena. Their bodies perished in sand and sunlight, yet their names outlived the empire that killed them. The legend of Spartacus. Long before the Colosseum was built, another arena slave lifted his sword, not for applause, but for freedom. His name was Spartacus, a Thracian soldier sold into gladiator training at Capua. In 73 BC, he broke free with 70 companions. Armed with kitchen knives and stolen blades, they defeated entire Roman legions. What began as a prison break became the greatest slave rebellion in Roman history. For 2 years, Spartacus led an army of 70,000 men and women, former gladiators, shepherds, fugitives, against Rome itself. He never sought to rule, he sought to end the world that fed on human lives for sport. When he finally fell, surrounded on all sides by Crassus's legions, he refused to retreat. His body was never found. Spartacus did not die, one ancient chronicler wrote. He returned to the dust that remembered his chains. Even centuries later, rebels and dreamers whispered his name like a prayer. Carpophorus, the beast killer. During Emperor Domitian's reign, one man stood above all hunters, Carpophorus the venator who could slay anything that breathed. He once entered the arena alone against 20 wild beasts, bears, lions, leopards, and killed them all with a single spear. The poet Martial wrote of him. He was born, not of man, but of Mars. Crowds adored him, but behind the cheers hid terror. Carpophorus was said to train by starving wolves, forcing them to attack so he could learn their rhythm. His body bore hundreds of scars, each one a mark of survival. Yet when Domitian died, Carpophorus vanished, his legend swallowed by the same empire that worshipped him. Mevia, the lion mistress. Women rarely fought in the arena, but those who did became icons of decadence. Mevia a Roman noblewoman, was said to enter the Colosseum bare-shouldered, wielding a hunting spear, and faced lions herself. Ancient poets mocked her for defying the modesty of women, yet the crowds adored her courage. In one tale, the lion refused to attack her, she struck it once through the heart and bowed to the emperor. Rome gasped, Mevia smiled. If a man may die for sport, she said, a woman may fight for honor. No one knows her fate, but her image, etched on a silver chalice, remains one of Rome's strangest relics of power and defiance. The twin brothers of Pompeii. In the ruins of Pompeii, archaeologists discovered mosaics showing 2 identical gladiators, Priscus and Verus. They fought each other in front of Emperor Titus in 80 AD, during the Colosseum's grand opening. After hours of combat, both men dropped their swords, exhausted but unbroken. The crowd rose. Titus stood and shouted. Victory to both. For the first time in history, two men were granted freedom together. They walked out of the arena side by side, their chains broken. Their friendship immortalized in stone. The cursed arena of Capua. Not all stories ended in glory. At Capua, the second largest amphitheater in Italy, locals whispered that the sand itself was cursed. During one festival, a lightning bolt struck mid-games, killing an entire troupe of performers. When the next show began, lions refused to fight, they lay down and whimpered. Priests declared it a sign from Jupiter. But the games continued, because Rome had forgotten how to stop. Today, the Capua Arena still stands, its stones blackened, its corridors echoing with invisible cries. The ghost of Flamma. Years after his death, the name Flamma still haunted the Ludi. New recruits swore they saw him during training nights, a shadow standing by the doorway, sword in hand, watching. He had fought 34 battles, won 21, and died refusing freedom. On the anniversary of his last fight, trainers poured wine into the sand in his memory. They whispered, "The flame never dies." The arena architects. The Colosseum was more than stone, it was engineering genius. Built from travertine, tufa, and volcanic ash, its walls rose 160 feet high. It had 80 entrances, 36 trapdoors, and could be emptied in 10 minutes. Roman engineers designed a wooden floor covered with sand, under which hidden lifts and trap mechanisms operated. Slaves, condemned men, and engineers worked side by side in darkness. One single mistake, a jammed pulley, a mistimed gate, could kill dozens. The architects of the arena never received statues or songs. Their brilliance served only to make cruelty more beautiful. The philosopher who watched. Seneca once wrote of attending the games. Man is most savage when he forgets he is watching himself. He described watching an execution where criminals were dressed as mythic heroes, forced to die in imitation of legends. A man playing Icarus leapt from a platform, and fell to his death for real. Seneca left early, trembling. He later told Nero that Rome's soul was rotting. Nero replied, smiling, "Then rot is our perfume." The final games. In 404 AD, after Telemachus's sacrifice, the last gladiatorial combat in Rome took place. Only a few hundred attended, most seats were empty. The emperor watched in silence as two old men, relics of a dying tradition, faced each other. They fought slowly, without fury, then dropped their weapons and embraced. The emperor rose, raised his hand, and left. The gates were sealed that night. The Colosseum never opened again. Legacy of blood and stone. Centuries passed. Barbarians looted Rome. Earthquakes tore the amphitheater apart. But even in ruin, it stood, a skeleton of power. Medieval pilgrims called it the Temple of the Devil. Artists painted it by moonlight, claiming to see faces in its arches. Today, millions walk its corridors with phones and cameras, yet few sense the weight of what lies beneath. Every whisper of wind across those arches is the breath of history saying, "Remember us." Because the Colosseum was not built by emperors, it was built by the broken, the forgotten, the enslaved. And though their names were erased, their echoes shaped the world that came after. Closing reflection. When we watch battles on screens today, when we cheer danger made safe, we are walking the same line Rome once crossed. The arena's stones still ask a question that has never faded. Have we learned, or have we only changed the stage? Rome's arenas fell to ruin, but the hunger they created never died. Even as centuries passed, the spirit of spectacle, the craving for dominance, pain, and awe, migrated from marble to fire, from sword to stage. The empire crumbled, yet the Roman idea of entertainment through suffering seeped into every age that followed. The Colosseum sleeps, but the world awakens. When the last gladiator fell and silence claimed the Colosseum, Rome's heart seemed to stop. Grass grew through the cracks of the arena floor. Birds nested in the arches where emperors once sat. But as the centuries turned, the same fascination with violence took new forms, **** tournaments, executions, duels ***, and later, theaters of war. In a way, Rome never died, it merely changed its costume. The medieval stage of blood. The Middle Ages inherited Rome's appetite for spectacle. In castles and towns across Europe, public executions replaced gladiatorial games. Crowds gathered to watch traitors hanged, thieves burned, or heretics broken on the wheel. Children were lifted onto shoulders to see. Vendors sold food and wine nearby. Chroniclers noted that execution days felt like festivals. The crowd cheered when a condemned man showed courage, just as they once had in the Colosseum. "We crave justice," a priest wrote, "but cheer cruelty." The Roman spirit had returned, hidden behind Christian crosses and royal banners. The Knight's Code and the Shadow of Rome. By the 12th century, knights' tournaments became the new spectacle. At first, they were meant for training, mock battles to sharpen skill. But soon, they turned deadly. Thousands gathered in fields to watch armored men clash on horseback. The cheers, the banners, the blood, all echoed the Colosseum's ghosts. Even kings fought. Richard the Lionheart once ordered a tournament so fierce that half the knights died. Poets called it chivalry. But beneath the gold and gallantry lay the same Roman hunger, *** violence wrapped in virtue ***. The Renaissance and the memory of the Colosseum. As Europe awoke to art and reason, the ruins of Rome became sacred once more. Artists and scholars visited the Colosseum in silence, sketching its arches and whispering prayers for the souls who had died there. Michelangelo called it ***, the wound that bleeds history. ***. The poet Byron stood in its center at night and wrote, "While stands the Colosseum, Rome shall stand. When falls the Colosseum, Rome shall fall." The world began to see it not as a monument to cruelty, but as a symbol of time's endurance, a lesson carved in stone. The theater of the Enlightenment. In the 18th century, public executions were still the people's favorite spectacle. Paris, London, and Rome hosted hangings that drew tens of thousands. Philosophers like Voltaire and Rousseau began to protest. They saw what few dared to admit, that modern civilization still carried the sickness of the arena. Voltaire wrote bitterly, "The Romans threw men to beasts. We throw them to the crowd." Still, the tradition continued. The crowd's cry for punishment always drowned out the whisper for mercy. The Industrial Colosseum. The 19th century replaced the sword with the machine. Steam, iron, and gunpowder became the new weapons of spectacle. Nations held grand military parades, cannons fired, flags waved, and soldiers marched to music. People cheered as they once did for gladiators. Even war became theater, an organized performance of death ***. When the American Civil War and World War I erupted, millions died not in arenas, but on fields broadcast by newspapers and stories. Spectacle had gone global. The modern age of shadows. In the 20th century, cinema was born, and with it, Rome rose again. Hollywood rediscovered the Gladiator, Ben-Hur, Spartacus, Gladiator. The silver screen turned cruelty into beauty once more. Crowds cheered when swords clashed, when heroes fell, when tyrants were defeated. Yet, behind the applause lay a subtle truth, ***, we were still entertained by pain ***. The faces had changed, but the emotion was ancient. Even sports borrowed the spirit of the arena. Stadiums filled with cheering masses, the roar of victory echoing just like the Colosseums. The world still loved spectacle, only now, it was branded, televised, and sold. The digital arena. The 21st century built a new kind of Colosseum, the Internet. Millions gather daily to watch, react, and judge. Fights go viral. Cruelty trends. Pain becomes content. We no longer kill for sport, a philosopher wrote, we humiliate. Our screens are the new sand. Our comments, the new roar. The empire is invisible now, but its soul remains the same. The Colosseum today. Beneath the Roman sun, tourists wander the Colosseum's ruins. Selfies replace swords. Laughter replaces screams. But when the last tour leaves and dusk falls, silence returns. Wind moves through the arches like a sigh. The moonlight reveals faint stains on the stone, too deep for rain to wash away. Archaeologists have found ancient graffiti etched into the walls. He fought bravely. She died well. Even now, flowers appear on the sands each year, left by strangers who remember what Rome left behind. The Colosseum's shadow stretches not across land, but across time. Every culture that celebrates struggle, every nation that glorifies victory, carries a spark of that old fire. The Romans believed violence could entertain, and entertainment could control. And they were right, for a time. But history teaches what power forgets. Spectacle fades. Empires fall. What endures are the questions whispered by the stones. Who watched? Who cheered? And who dared to say no? Closing reflection. From swords to screens, from sand to pixels, humanity's oldest story is the same. We are drawn to struggle, to the sight of courage, fear, and survival. But the line between admiration and cruelty remains razor-thin. The Colosseum may be a ruin now. But every roar of a crowd, every thirst for domination, is a faint echo of those marble walls. So the next time we cheer for violence, fictional or real, we should ask ourselves, are we any different from Rome, or simply its descendants in disguise? For centuries, the Colosseum stood as a ruin of myth. But deep beneath its stones, the dead still speak. Archaeologists once believed the Roman games were simple acts of barbarism. But the more they dug, the more bones they brushed clean, the more they discovered, the games were not just entertainment. They were a system of power, religion, and fear woven into every corner of the empire. The evidence still lies beneath the dust of the amphitheaters: blood, ash, curses, and whispers of the damned. The blood beneath the sand. When modern archaeologists began excavating the Colosseum's arena floor, they expected weapons, coins, and bones. What they found was far stranger. Hidden beneath layers of sand were hundreds of human teeth, shards of animal bones, and iron hooks bent by massive force. Some fragments showed claw marks, as if men had tried to crawl away before being dragged back. Analysis of the soil revealed traces of iron and hemoglobin, the chemical fingerprint of blood. Even after 2,000 years, the earth still carried the memory of slaughter. A scientist wrote quietly in her notes. "The ground here remembers everything. The skeletons that spoke." In 2014, a mass grave was uncovered near Ephesus, in modern Turkey, once part of the Roman Empire. Inside were over 60 skeletons of gladiators. Their bones told stories no historian ever could. Almost all bore healed fractures, showing they had survived multiple fights. But their skulls carried single, clean killing blows, proof that their deaths were ritual, deliberate, and staged. Forensic experts recreated the wounds and discovered a grim detail. The fatal strike was always precisely between the eyes, a professional execution delivered by an official called the Summarius, whose job was to finish the defeated. Even death, in Rome, had choreography. The secret prayers of gladiators. In the ruins of gladiator barracks in Pompeii, archaeologists found something extraordinary. Tiny lead tablets ***, etched with words in Latin and Greek. They were curses, buried beneath the training grounds. May Marcus the Thracian fall today. May his sword grow heavy. May his heart tremble. These were left by rivals, lovers, or even gamblers, because betting on fights was common. Each curse was rolled tight, pierced with a nail, and offered to underworld gods like Nemesis or Pluto. In one chamber, a fragment read simply, "Let the sand drink his name." The arena's hidden machinery. Beneath the Colosseum's surface lies one of ancient Rome's greatest engineering marvels, the Hypogeum, rediscovered only in the 20th century. It was a two-story labyrinth of corridors, pulleys, trapdoors, and elevators operated by more than 300 slaves. Massive wooden platforms lifted animals and fighters directly onto the arena floor. Each platform required 16 men to crank in perfect rhythm. If one slipped, the mechanism jammed, and the next show stalled. Archaeologists found scorch marks, shattered ropes, and carved initials left by the slaves who worked there. They signed their names in secret, like whispers from the dark. Lucius made this wheel. Athenio lives still. The beasts of empire. Recent excavations in North Africa, Egypt, and the Middle East revealed the scope of Rome's animal hunts. Archaeologists unearthed fossilized remains of lions, leopards, hippos, ostriches, even crocodiles, species driven to extinction in those regions by Rome's demand. An inscription from Carthage recorded, "For Caesar's games, 10 elephants, 100 lions, and 60 panthers." Traders captured cubs and shipped them to Rome in iron cages across desert and sea. Many died before reaching Italy. Those who survived arrived half-mad, starved, and trembling, perfect for spectacle. In the Colosseum's pits, archaeologists found chains small enough for cubs, proof that even baby animals were displayed for entertainment before being killed. Rome's empire was not just built on human suffering, it consumed nature itself. The arena as temple. New research revealed that for Romans, the games were religious acts. Each bloodshed honored the gods, especially Mars, the god of war, and Nemesis, goddess of vengeance. Archaeologists found small shrines beneath seating areas, altars with ashes, incense, and offerings. Before a major event, priests performed purification rituals on the sand. The crowd thought they were cheering sport, but in truth, they were witnessing sacrifice. Blood was not just spilled, it was offered. The gladiators' diet and science of survival. Skeletal studies revealed surprising truths about gladiators' lives. They were called hordearii, barley eaters. Their bones showed high levels of calcium and plant ash. Scientists realized gladiators drank a tonic made from charred bone and vinegar, a crude recovery drink to harden muscles and heal fractures. They were athletes in every sense, trained like soldiers, maintained like property. A doctor's tablet found near a training ground read: for swelling, olive oil, honey, and ground bone. For fear, wine. The voices of the crowd. On the walls of Pompeii's amphitheater, graffiti preserved the spectators' words. Crescens, the Thracian, wins again. Marcus fights like Mars. Celadus, the heartthrob of the girls. They wrote love notes to killers, and bets on who would die first. Some even carved images of their favorite gladiators into wine cups. For the Romans, the arena was not hell, it was the heartbeat of daily life. The more death they saw, the more alive they felt. The Christian martyr's reality. For centuries, legends told that thousands of Christians were martyred in the Colosseum. Modern historians now suggest that while some executions happened there, many occurred in smaller arenas. Still, one inscription on the Colosseum's wall, carved in Latin centuries later, reads: "In this place, they died for faith." Regardless of scale, the message remained the same. Rome's arena, once devoted to pagan gods, became the ultimate symbol of persecution, and later, redemption. The archaeology of silence. When the Colosseum was finally restored in the 21st century, workers found something strange under one of the arches, a small bronze amulet. It bore a faint engraving of a gladiator's helmet, and on the back, the Latin words: "He fought well." No one knows who placed it there. Perhaps a lover. Perhaps a slave. Perhaps someone who wanted the world to remember that behind every scream, there was a name. Closing reflection. Archaeology has revealed what history tried to forget. That the Roman games were not just cruelty, but a mirror of civilization's oldest hunger, power, spectacle, and control. The bones, the curses, the blood in the earth, they tell one truth. Rome's arenas were not about death. They were about the illusion of immortality through suffering. Every roar, every sword strike, every cheer echoed the same message. We exist because others fall. And even now, when the Colosseum glows beneath the Roman moon, its ghosts whisper. Remember us, not for how we died, but for how we were watched. Rome's arenas may lie in ruins, but the shadows they cast stretch across centuries, across continents, and into our very souls. The story of Rome's spectacles does not end with the last gladiator, the last lion, or the final priest's prayer. It lingers, in theaters, in stadiums, in screens, and in the heartbeat of anyone who watches, cheers, or thrills at danger. This is the final chapter, the echo of blood and marble across time. The Colosseum at night. Long after the sun sets over Rome, the Colosseum stands. Tourists leave, guards lock the gates, and silence returns. But in that quiet, the amphitheater whispers the memory of millions who died, bled, and prayed beneath its arches. Some swear the wind carries the sound of swords clashing, the growls of lions, the roar of thousands. It is not imagination. It is memory encoded in stone and sand. Rome created a stage so grand that even centuries later, it commands attention. Rome's eternal influence. From medieval tournaments to modern sports, Rome's arena persists. We build stadiums where crowds cheer, chant, and sometimes fight. We stage battles on screens, with heroes, villains, and death simulated. We watch competitions that push bodies to their limits, all echoes of the Colosseum. Every arena, every spectator sport, carries Rome's DNA. The thrill of survival. The spectacle of conflict. The social power of entertainment. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Memory in art and film. Hollywood resurrected gladiators for new generations. Films like Spartacus, Gladiator, and Ben-Hur turned sand and blood into cinematic legends. Artists and writers captured the glory and horror of Roman spectacles. Paintings of lions tearing at prisoners. Poems recounting Spartacus' rebellion. Novels imagining life in the asterisk Ludi. Rome had taught the world that violence could be beautiful, death could be thrilling, and that stories were forged in suffering. Lessons from the arena. But there is another side. Archaeology and history reveal the human cost. Slaves and prisoners forced to fight. Women and children exposed to brutality. Animals hunted to extinction. The Colosseum teaches that power unchecked leads to cruelty, and that entertainment without empathy becomes a mirror of society's darkest instincts. History is not just a story, it is a warning. The ghosts who never rest. The arena was a home for the forgotten, gladiators, slaves, criminals, Christians, and animals. Though time has buried their names, their spirits linger. Flamma. Spartacus. Mevia. Carpophorus. Telemachus. The stones remember them. The sand remembers them. Even today, if you stand in the Colosseum alone at night, the weight of all those lives presses against your chest. They fought, they bled, and they defied oblivion, not for themselves, but to be remembered. Modern echoes. The influence of Rome persists in subtle ways. Reality TV and fight competitions echo gladiatorial combat. Social media rewards spectacle and humiliation. Sports glorify risk, skill, and survival, like the arenas of old. Rome taught a lesson the world struggles to hear. The line between admiration and cruelty is thin. Entertainment can uplift, or destroy. Even in our modern comfort, the shadow of the arena watches. The philosopher's warning. Seneca wrote, "Man is most cruel when he forgets he is human." This warning resonates through history. Every time crowds cheer danger, every time power is displayed through suffering, every time spectacle overshadows morality, Rome's lesson whispers. Remember who fell here. Remember who cheered. We cannot undo the past. But we can recognize its shadow. Reflection among ruins. Walk the Colosseum today. See the arches, the gates, the empty seats. Feel the sand beneath your feet. Imagine the roars of 80,000 spectators. Hear the clash of steel and the cry of the condemned. Know that this ruin was once a heartbeat of cruelty and ambition, a place where humanity's fascination with death was perfected. Yet, it is also a place of memory and endurance, a testament to survival, courage, and legacy. The eternal question. Rome left behind more than stone and blood. It left us a question. What will we do with the power to witness, to judge, and to entertain? Every arena we build, every spectacle we produce, every thrill we cheer, carries that ancient echo. Will we repeat Rome's mistakes, or will we learn from its shadows? The end, and yet. The Colosseum will crumble one day, like all things. The stones will return to dust. The sand will scatter to the wind. But its shadow, its lesson, remains eternal. We are the audience. We are the inheritors. We are the witnesses. And as long as humans gather to watch, cheer, or crave spectacle, the spirit of Rome's arenas will never die.